up? Yeah, so in this video I'm gonna go over one of my favorite light novels of all time. Plus I like the anime too, but we're gonna go over Classroom Elite and why the anime never lived up to the light novels. Like, I don't want to say the anime sucks. It kind of does, but it doesn't suck that bad. It just messed up and went away from the light novels in certain type of ways. So I'm gonna go over each light novel that it covered and what it messed up with and all that, and then at the end I'll talk about a few things with the anime it messed up. But it's another one of these videos, so I'm gonna go in deep detail with it. And just remember, listen on the phones for the sake of trees. Has one of the most interesting takes on high school anime. What it does is it adds the idea of having students go to this high school that is created by the government, and the high school's main purpose is to test all the students that go there by having them show off their different talents and skills that they are good at or bad at. And they must stay at this school with no outside communication. One of the thing is this is not having like no ultimate talents like down in Rampo. So like they must stay at this school with no outside communication, with the hopes of being able to get their dream job or getting any college they want by attending this school and graduating from it. But the catch is you have to be in class A, and there are 4 classes like in each grade, so A through D, with A being the best, D being the worst. And like this adds a competitiveness nature between each of the class because they each want to reach class A. Classroom Elite light novels were published on May 25th, 2015, written by Shogo Kinyugaza. 2 years later, the anime was announced and it aired on July 7th, 2017 to September 27th, 2017, and it had 12. So we'll start this off. So Classroom Elite anime, I got the anime on Blu-ray, yeah, and then I'm gonna tell you about what it does. So the anime, the anime right here, the 12 episodes, it covers these 3 main volumes: volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. And some reason it covers one part of 4.5, which makes no sense, and I'll go over why it doesn't make no sense. And then it skips over volume 4, which it makes sense because there weren't enough episodes to go into volume 4, because volume 4 is like really good, and it's where Classroom Elite starts to change. So it would not made sense for them to cover that right now. But these 3 volumes it made sense for, because each of these are all 3 different arcs, and then this one did not make sense why they took a part of this, but I'll go into that. So without the way, just know I enjoyed this anime a lot. Every episode I was excited about this episode. Like each new episode I was very excited, and like I really love the concept of Classroom Elite. It's really dope. It's just once I figured out that we are getting an English release for the light novels and I read them, I was like, oh, why did they do this to me? Why do they always do this? Like, man, why do I always like these anime that have like dope stories and all that, but then I read the manga and light novels, it messes me up? Yes, that's how I always. So yeah, I'm gonna go over all 3 light novels and tell you what the light novels did that the anime didn't, and then towards the end I'm gonna talk about some anime stuff. So I started with the first light novel. So in my opinion, the first arc was very rushed in the anime, like very rushed compared to the light novel, even though this arc is really like, it's just a setup arc, and you miss out like on a lot of character development, especially like with Sudo, Yamakichi, Ike, all of them. You miss kind of that. Then Chabashira Sensei like has a bigger role, like it's bigger than what they show in the anime with this first volume, because especially even though she's done right, it's just like they kind of like don't really flesh her out as well as they could in this first arc, even though it's like it's done right. But and you also have Horikita and Anna Koji. They have way bigger like meetings, like they meet more and all that, and like you see their development as whatever they are. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, and when they get the old test from like the older student, there's like more of like a discussion of like how this could affect them, like if they can get in trouble, all that, where in the anime they just go get it and they don't care at all. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, hey, y'all just don't care. Light novels, they do. And the test is given the day before to everybody, where in the anime they kind of do that, but they don't really flesh out like why they did that and why Anna Koji thinks they should do that and all that. They don't really go over it like that. And the whole first midterm arc really isn't like that crazy. It's a setup, like I was saying. It's just like it should have been a little bit longer than what they made it. And there was like a few points they flipped and did wrong, of course, because I don't know why they did that. It's weird why they do that. And then in the library, Class C provokes Sudo, and like this is like one of the first times you should see Ichino, like where more people than like Anna Koji sees her. And like I don't know why we didn't see this in the anime, because it actually is an important scene, because you get to see her and this like other students in the library, and we don't really see that. And Anna Koji's like personality. Like he's more of a laid back person at first, and like he doesn't want to be noticed and all that. Where in the anime you can kind of see he's a mastermind already, and like they did it weird that they did it like that. I don't know why they wanted to show his true nature already, where in the light novels you don't really learn it till the end of volume 3. And also one big thing is when Koji sees Kushida's true nature, it's on a roof, not in a park. It makes no sense why it's in a park where more people can see her. Like why? Because she was wide in the open. Where like on a roof, you won't really see her because not most people are gonna go up to a roof. So next we're gonna go to the light novel 2. So the first 2 light novels, they're really like their arc should have been expanded, but they're not really that big of a major deal in my opinion. But there's still stuff they messed up on or could have done better. So at the beginning of the chapter of volume 2, you see Sakura's viewpoint on the incident, which they should have done. They should have done like some Promised Neverland type of stuff, where you see somebody just looking at the incident, but you don't know who it is, and that would have added like a thing of like suspicion or suspense type of way, and then that way you build the arc in, and you find out it's Sakura. That's how you do it. Especially for people that haven't read the light novels, that would have been amazing, but sadly they didn't. I hate that they didn't. There's more character development, of course, and then one of the things is Koji ends up because he becomes friends with Ichino, and he ends up asking her for help, because I mean they're technically friends. Like, I guess you could say associates, maybe you can go like that, but he asks her for help. That way like they can corner the Class C people and blackmail them by showing that there's cameras up in the hallways, and it's not Horikita. Never made sense in anime why they did that. I hated that. And this is like when Class B and Class B and D are going to start to have a relationship because of this incident and other stuff and why it sets up. And Koji has to explain like how everything got set up to Horikita, because you know she's very useless in the light novels. The anime, they hyped her up. We'll talk about that later. Let's just saying. And like in the one hallway where the incident happened, this is when you first see Rugen. Like he passes by them and tells them that he'll be their next opponent. And like that was dope because it's in the incident where they're at, and while he's explaining to Horikita already what happened, where in the anime they just have it after like that meeting room they're at with the student council president and all of them, and he just happens to walk by, where it's like in the incident area that's better because he was checking out like, oh, who's the one that set my boys up, and that one was better. So but light novel 3 is where stuff changes. So at the beginning of the arc, when you have Sakura and Koji and Kojin, like they're walking the island, one of the things they don't show is that Sakura and Koji, they find corn, and that's when they first meet Katsuragi, and they don't show that, which was actually kind of important because it's the first time they see him, kind of, besides like, you know, the one point they see him with the key card and Koji is smart. And they also don't show like Koji walking the island at one time and figuring out and seeing everything, because that goes into his master. You see how he is with that. I don't know why they didn't do that. And when Koji asks Horikita to see the key card, he ends up dropping it on purpose, that way he can set up a Buki. And I did not realize till now that there's so many Danganronpa references for like with character names. That's funny. And like one of the things is Yamakichi, and he tells Yamakichi about like the throw mud on Horikita beforehand, that he can give him Sakura's number, and then he says like when he'll let him know when to do it, and he lets him know, where in the anime Yamakichi just does it, and then they show later on why this got set up, and it's like, oh wow, I'm like, y'all didn't really need to do that. And like Koji, the main reason you can tell he set her up because like he already messes with the camera, so then you already go into his master plan, and like in the anime they do that later on they show him mess with that, but it's like he messes with that, and that's when he learns, oh, I'm about to set up a Buki, and this is when his plan starts. And when Horikita like sees a Buki leaving and she follows her, there's a lot more talking while Buki's trying to dig up the walkie-talkie, but she doesn't, before they start fighting. And then the fight happens, and hey, a Buki does some stuff, bro. Buki ends up giving Horikita the hands a little bit, bro, towards the end of the fight, because like they're talking about the manual, and then Horikita ends up gets hit like with an item, and not like by a Buki kicking her first. It's like an item she hits her with. I don't know, they don't really talk about what item it is. It's just he hits her with an item. And like when Horikita's like falling, she ends up like trying to get up again, and a Buki ends up like kicking her down, and then also a Buki even picks her up by her hair, slapping her, even kicks her down again, while Horikita keeps trying to get up till Horikita falls out. And then Horikita ends up hearing Rugen, she ends up hearing a Buki call Rugen, and then they end up showing like a Buki go to Rugen, meet Katsuragi, and then talk about all the stuff that happened. Where in the anime they do it later on, a Rugen flashback, which was kind of dumb that they did that. I don't really like it like that. I like stuff following in order. This would have worked out better that way. I don't like the little flashbacks they try to do. Ano Koji, like when he's going to look for Ibuki and all of them, and of course Horikita, he ends up seeing flashlights out in the forest, and he knows that's where they're at. And one of the things we missed out on that they should have done is Horikita's very apologetic when Ano Koji finds her, and like she's over here like all sad and talking about how she let the class down, all that when she was a leader, blah blah blah, all of that, and she's going like that. And like Ano Koji even like he comforts her, even tells her that she can't do everything on herself, and like he'll help her get the class A and all that. And like this was a pretty good scene because it just like sets up their little friendship. And then Ano Koji ends up like when he's taking her to like the beach, and she ends up falling down the hill with her, and like he even protects her to make sure she doesn't get hurt. And then the next time when like, cause then he takes her to a tree and like they wait a little bit again, and this is when Horikita calls Ano Koji her friend, and there's more of a conversation how like how he wants her to retire, and like she won't because she doesn't want to give up because she's too stubborn. But this is when you see Ano Koji's real nature, which the anime messed up. I'm so mad about. Because anime they do this at the end where he basically tells her, he doesn't say it, but it's like his inner monologue, and he basically says like, I never thought of you as a friend or a classmate. I would do whatever it takes to win and sacrifice whoever, basically. And it's like, bro, if they did this in the anime when after he's comforted her, you know how crazy this scene would have been and how fire, instead of doing it after on the ship, which didn't happen. And it's like, bro, why did they do that, bro? I'm still mad they did that when they should have happened in that forest area. And it's like, bro, when he's taking her thinking that would have been so amazing. And we also miss out on Chabashira sensei about like if it's gonna affect homeroom and all that. We miss out on that, which really isn't that important. It happens, but and like during the finals when Rugen comes back, when they're about to announce all this stuff, so Rugen comes in talking all types of smack to Class D, especially Pseudo. And then when Class C gets announced to have 0 points, Pseudo and everybody in Class D, like of course the three idiots that they call them, are just rolling and like cracking jokes at him while Rugen's shocked. In the anime, we just saw him shock a little bit, but he didn't really understand it. It's just in the light novels, it's way better because like it's fitting for him because he needs to take them L's. Trust me, he's gonna take more L's. He deserves it. And also, we didn't really get like a quick talk about Ano Koji telling Hirata about who's gonna win and how Horikita's the one that told him, because we don't really see that in the anime that much, where he be telling people this is Horikita's plan. You don't really see that. But then like after this is over, he tells Hirata to tell everybody it's Horikita's plan, and then this is how it sets up that Horikita can be better and cooler with everybody in the class, and everybody sees her as just like a startup person or just like a leader now, and they want to like work with her, and they see that she's better because she came up with this genius plan, even though Ano Koji was pulling the strings. And like he ends up explaining like to Horikita how it happened, and she's like, why is this happening? Like he goes into detail about like how his plan was and like how he saw all this stuff from the ship and everything, and like explains it to Horikita. Unlike in the anime, they do it, but they don't really go in detail like how the light novels do. And at the end of the light novel, which would have been a better ending for the anime, this is where he tells Horikita he'll help her get the Class A as long as she doesn't look into his background. And it's like that. And if they end it like that, then that's a way how you end the anime like this, is if you just, because literally that's the perfect ending. Because then he says, I'll help you get the Class A, and then boom, you end it. Then season 2, if it ever comes out, that's how you do it. And it's just like, and also they didn't really go into detail when he talks about like Chabashira sensei, and he's talking about being Icarus, because like at that point you see another part of his true nature, how he actually wants to be like Icarus, because he wants to see how far he can burn out, because he wants to test his limits. All right, we'll go over some stuff from the anime, because trust me, there's some stuff in the anime that was added for no reason. So episode 7 follows a part of this light novel. Yes, a part of this light novel that it should have not followed. And it messes up because it gives Horikita a role that she did not deserve. And like honestly, episode 7 did not need to be there, because they give Horikita Kel Kazaria, I forgot how you say her last name, but Kel or Kale, whatever, however you say her name, bro. I don't know. It's the girl, like she becomes, because of volume 4 that's right here, because of her, she and Ano Koji become cool because Ano Koji does something to save her, and now she works for him. And like this is supposed to set up their relationship, and it goes like their relationship together, and it shows how he's pulling her strings along, how she knows his true nature, and she's one of the only ones that knows his real true nature, because he's always showing his true nature to her. And like they messed that up. Like, don't give this to Horikita. I was so mad that they messed that up, bro, because it's like, bro, they threw it just because they wanted to show all the people in bathing suits, and it's like, bro, you do not need to do this. This could have been another episode that could have been added to the to the island arc, which would have helped out way better. And I'm just like why? Let's see what else happens. Nothing from Light Novel 4 was covered, of course. They did not need to do that. If they would have covered some, there's no way they could have covered anything from Light Novel 4. But it's like, why did you skip to go 4.5? And it's like, they just didn't. I honestly think the people that were doing this, they were not thinking. I don't know. They did not read the source material. I don't think they must have not. Like, I honestly don't. I think they skimmed through it because it's like, there's no way you mess up this bad. But it's not the worst. That's the crazy thing. And then Sakanagi, however you say her name, she's never shown in the first 3 light novels. She's just mentioned. So she should have not been shown at all, because even in 4.5 she's not shown. And it's like, why? She's supposed to be this mysterious person, because you don't know, you just know that she's running Class A from the shadows along with because like Katsuragi, they think that he's the leader, but she's actually, because there's 2 factions in Class A, and she's supposed to be this mysterious figure. You don't really see her to light novel 5. That's when you first see her and Ana Koji meets her. And it's like, she's supposed to be this mysterious figure that you've only heard about. But it's like, why did they do that? And one thing I hate about the anime is that they make Horikita seem like she's very useful. They make it seem like she's the main character. Because I even thought that she was the main character, because the way they were portraying her. But you read the light novel, she's like, no, she's not the main character. And no, she's not this useful. She gets a whole bunch of roles that are for other girls, that other girls in the light novels have. And it's like, why did they do this? Like, you did not need to make this. You already have enough. It's like, you have enough material where you don't need to make her. She's very useless. She doesn't get useful until like way later on, like deep in the light novels. She doesn't get useful, bruh. Like, she's very useless. She's not the most useless, but she's very useless at the being like the most. I'm pretty sure it's not until like close to the close to the 2nd year she gets useful. It's like somewhere around there. Anime took a lot of stuff, like a lot of events are out of order and through all 3. It makes no sense why they did that. But I'll tell you one thing though. That opening is a bop. That opening slap, bro. That opening slap. I give them that. Hey, and the character designs are amazing. I love seeing the character designs. They actually fit how the light novels look, and like that actually is very crispy. They showed the white room thing, because for no reason they should not show that, because that's a thing that's like happens later in the light novels. Just because you're talking about Ana Koji with his father and all that, you don't need to mention this yet, because it's something you're supposed to know later on when they go over the chapter to even go with that. So they didn't need to show that at all. And then that scene on the boat where Ichino's talking about like how you can buy anything, that does not happen on that boat. That conversation doesn't happen. That's a different conversation. I'm pretty sure that happens. For some reason I feel like that happens in 4.5, and it happens with. I'm pretty sure that happens in 4.5, and it's with somebody else. It's with Ana Koji. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, that scene doesn't even happen on that ship. One thing about like the anime that really is like Ana Koji's nature. Like, his nature is supposed to come as a surprise at the end of Light Novel 3, towards the end when he says to Horikita, and it's like it's supposed to be like a very surprise. You're like, oh, this is his true nature, because before you're supposed to think he's just some boring person that's lazy and has very awkward with conversating with people, and he just doesn't fit in that well, and he's just trying to have a normal life and not stand out. But in the anime, they show his true nature throughout basically all the anime, and you kind of see how smart he is and how he's the mastermind. But I don't know why they did that. But yeah, this was all over the place when it came to Classroom Elite. I love this anime. I love the manga. I love the light novels more. But I really hope there's a season 2, and I hope if there is a season 2 that they fix everything. I mean, honestly, bro, I want a reboot, bro, because like they messed up a lot of stuff, especially that 4.5. Because it's like when, I mean, they can do it. They can do it if they cover Volume 4 right, and Volume 5 and 6. If they just do that with 12 episodes again. If they do it right, man, it could be good. But if they don't do it right, it's like, it's gonna suck. It's gonna suck big time, but it's like they on it, bro. I'm just so mad, like the way they messed up. Just like, please don't mess it up. If you guys make a season 2, please do not mess it up. Follow the light novels, because Volume 4 is when everything happens and like it gets super crispy and it's fire. And this is when Classroom League becomes like a crazy anime. A crazy light novel. It's like one of the best, interesting light novels I've ever read. Like, it's better than like stuff I've read like Harry Potter, Mockingjay. Whatever, Hunger Games, stuff like that. Maze Runner is the only thing I think I cannot put over, because Maze Runner was a very interesting read, but this is a very interesting read. I love this series. I kill it every time I get it. Like, it's one of them ones I get into the world and it just feels amazing. But yeah, if you made it this far, you should like. If you didn't like the video, you could always dislike. You can leave stuff in the comments about Classroom Elite. Anything you think I missed out on from the anime and the light novel differences, because like I said, I didn't find everything. I didn't go over everything. I just went over some of the kind of major things that I thought was like should have been fixed and was a major difference. So put in the comments, check out some other videos. Subscribe if you really enjoyed. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!